So the topic for the talk this morning is the title of the retreat, A Self-Retreat with Others. And you'll see our retreat is joining this daily online practice. And we meet up in an interesting way because we've been talking about meditation sickness for the last week in this daily online group. And I'm going to jump off with a quote or a paragraph from Willoughby Britton on a recent interview that she gave. And I read this last night at the retreat, but I'm going to reread it this morning. It's an interview from When Meditation Goes Wrong. And these are her unedited words from the end of the interview. I totally understand a comprehensive worldview that explains everything and also does a lot of work in terms of giving me purpose and belonging and emotional regulation strategies. A one-stop shop. I'm signing on. I understand that that might very well be a compelling narrative. The opposite of that is that you have to make decisions. There are a lot of different choices, a lot of different trajectories, a lot of different goals and endpoints. You actually have to step into the ring and make some actual decisions and choices and do the hard work of what you actually care about and what actually matters in your life. No, you wouldn't want to do that. It's a lot of work, but I haven't seen another way around it. So that final statement has stuck with me over the night, and it feels like a truism that we know from reflective meditation practice. But I also know it from, this came up to me this morning, I know it from grocery shopping. Even I can't go to one grocery store anymore, Costco, which should have everything, but doesn't have the peanut butter or the cashew nut butter I needed for my recipe last night. I had to go to Trader Joe's. And that's how real this truism feels to me. Because similarly in reflective meditation practice, we've had to go to other places to bring in other understandings to supplement our practice. In our fundamentals, we state that reflective meditation is an outgrowth of vipassana, an insight meditation, based on Buddhist teachings. But we also acknowledge our perspective that includes principles of Western psychology. So we've added to the Dharma using some psychological language in our translations. For example, in the Ennobling Truths, we really are looking at one translation of dukkha as we're vulnerable. And in the Marks of Existence, another teaching, we're looking at the existence that we're born into all having needs. So we're using this kind of language in some of the translations for our practice. So as I was considering it this morning, I was really kind of testing this is, have we inherited a one-stop shop from the Buddhist monastic tradition? In the discourses, the highest form of meditation practice was to give up your life and to basically go into a monastery, into a community of monks. And your sole purpose was awakening. And you practiced with a Sangha and a community, and you all had the same goals and intentions and did the same guided practices in that tradition. And of course, there are exceptions to this. And what we also inherited was modified for everyday folks like us. But now you can find that there's many Buddhisms. And even though there's many Buddhisms, it's still not uncommon that in almost any setting, you can get a one-stop shop narrative of meditation can cure all ills, or meditation is the sole purpose of awakening. And often you don't even know what awakening is yet. That hasn't even been defined or explored for you. So in contrast, reflective meditation, we're really not dictating a purpose for your practice. a goal or an end goal. We're going to listen and discover how you uncover this in your meditative process. We're not going to guide you in emotional regulation techniques, but we are going to help you build a container so that you can discover some of those emotional regulation techniques for yourself. And the word that stands out to me in Willoughby's paragraph this morning was belonging. And there's been a lot of research and study on belonging recently, and when I did a little of my own research, it seems that most of it has been just since the 90s that it's become something that we've looked more deeply into. And if I quoted the research from the 90s, it would be really different than quoting it from now in 2020, 2024. So I'm going to take this example from the National Library of Medicine. And this is the title of the abstract that I read, The Need to Belong, a deep dive into the origins, implications, and future of a foundational construct. And it's by Roy Baumeister and Mark Leary. They're the pioneers of belonging research. But they basically start off with belonging is a fundamental need, but it's a complex construct. And the synopsis of their research is belonging good, not belonging bad. Basic, it's very simplistic. But further study over the years has gone into starting to look at some of the potential ill effects of belonging, especially if we consider situations when groups start to forge a sense of belonging by othering others in the group. And this happens when groups get together. They consciously or unconsciously, this is something that can develop. And by the way, this is not the intention of our retreat, self-retreat with others. We're not taking that up. But the abstract ends with this, I think, interesting statement. The continued quest for a deeper understanding of belonging takes us beyond the acknowledgement of belonging as a basic human need to a more textured understanding of how belonging can be conceptualized, how it can be studied, how it can be applied to have greater positive impact. And I just feel like that's a parallel to what we're doing with our practice in meditation, is that we're going into the nuances, the complexities, and looking to study it, to understand it, so that it can be applied with greater positive impact. Now I want to go back to another part of Willoughby's statement where she goes into the actualities, the actually having to step into the ring, the actually having to make actual decisions and choices and do hard work about what you care about in meditation practice. So what's kind of emerged from my looking more deeply into this, into her work, is considering the intentions for reflective meditation practice. And I thought about this morning, are we really co-creating what I would call an atmosphere for practice? An atmosphere for a place where we can continually dive a little bit deeper or feel safe enough to dive deeper. An atmosphere where we want to continue to learn and understand and grow, where belonging can develop within us, and we can really pay attention to what truly matters, the conditions in our lives. Then I went further, an atmosphere to reduce the pressure to be perfect and relax and catch things from each other. And then I went, okay, here catch things from each other stops me from going into too much idealistic atmosphere. Because while we can catch, my mind, very positive things, patience, inspiration, true friendship, good feelings, we can also catch comparison and hurt and misunderstandings. So it really helped me to see like there's no really perfect atmosphere. Or one-stop shop atmosphere that we can create. So if you're newer to reflective meditation, the atmosphere that we are creating, that actually comes from doing this practice together, it takes time to develop an understanding for this. That it's a little bit of a leap of faith now, because it's easy to be confused or to doubt some of what we hear or what's going on or our own experience. It's easy to become untethered at times and not sure what you should land on or ground to. There will be things that you don't understand that will be referring to teachings that maybe you haven't been taught yet. So what do you do with that? But if you can hang in there, you'll find out what works for you. And you'll be able to find your own direction and ways of meditating and benefits that are more particular to your own dispositions, to your own wants and desires and needs. And that is a way that we develop confidence in a practice, by staying with the confusion and staying with the unknown, that we start to get some real life experience of trust, that it will move more into clarity, into intuition, into greater wisdom, and into creativity. So I'm going to end the talk here. We will meditate together on our own, in our own little Zoom rooms, for about 30 minutes, and then we'll have 10 minutes for reflection and 10 minutes for a few people to talk about their experience this morning. And I'll ring the bells, and once again, we'll turn off our cameras, make sure that your mute is on, and we'll get started in a moment here.